Hi YouTube, I want to give you my solution for mounting a red dot sight on a Keltec Sub2k Gen 2. The weapon is clear, there's nothing in the magazine well, nothing in the chamber, and nothing in the barrel. To start with, I guess I should explain why I chose this method over some of the others out there. Number one, it's really cheap. Number two is I wanted to have a red dot sight on my Sub2k without it being in the way, and I chose to put it here rather than on the bottom of the forearm because I can deploy it quickly, deploy the weapon quickly without having to mount the sight. So I can just go into operations. Another reason is that if I don't have time to mount the sight, it's protected by my shoulder and out of the way. Here's the components for my red dot setup. The first is a 3-slot UTG quick disconnect mid-riser. Then I have a TRS-25 Bushnell red dot. This is a Magpul Poly M-Lock. I think they're like $10 on Amazon. And then I have two small screws that I use. So you can get all these things on Amazon for a little less than $100 minus any shipping costs. Here's a couple of modifications you're going to have to make in order for your system to hold zero. First of all, the Picatinny rail on your handguard, these tops are crowned. They're slightly rounded. And so when you mount your sight, it doesn't give a good match, and it's really hard to get your zero every time. So to fix that, you just need to grind that down just a little bit, very, very slightly, just to take that crowning off. Then you'll get a really good match and a mate. To remove that crowning, this is what I did. I used a belt sander, and I came over and made sure that it was square. And so once I knew everything was squared, I sanded very, very gently. I'd sand just a little bit and look at it, a little bit more and look at it. And then you can tell when the crowning's gone and the actual Picatinny is flush. So here's a look of the crowning on the right versus what I did on the sanding. So you can see that I didn't take much material off. You need to be very careful about that, because if you take a lot of material off, then it will mess up your co-witness when you mount your sight. But if you just take that crowning off, and by that I mean this portion right here, you just remove that ever so slightly to get this flat, and then you'll be able to have a really good zero, a really good match. And this is one of the problems people have mounting red dot sights, and it's an easy fix. But you can mess up your handguard if you don't go slow and easy and really check after each little bit of removal. This is probably the most critical thing right here. And by the way, I removed my handguard from the weapon. It was way easier to work with, and I wasn't worried about scratching or damaging any of the other parts of the weapon. So I highly recommend taking off the handguard to do this process. Okay, the next thing you need to do is remove a little material off of your M-Lock. What it'll have are these little risers right here. Sorry, I'm doing this by myself. And those will need to come off. So just, here again, take your time, grind those down to be flush. Once you do that, come to the top of your sander where it's rounded and put an ever so slight curve on here. And here again, just take your time and check and make sure it fits right. That's important. So if you do that, it'll fit a lot better on your stock of your Sub2k. Okay, next you'll decide where you want to mount this on your buttstock. And so what I did is I wanted this part back here to be flush. and so I kind of made it flush there. Then I went inside and marked dead center on these holes. Once you've got these marked where you want to drill, make sure that you stay in this spine as much as you can. As you can see, I got a little off a little bit, and I wish I had been a little more careful in doing that. It just gives it more strength. So just be careful when you do that. And so I used a 3/32 drill to make the holes. Now the holes look a lot larger. That's because the screws enlarge the holes a little bit. So that's why they look a little raggedy and all that. But be careful when you drill your holes. When you drill the holes in your stock, make sure that you have your stock this portion level. And you can use a little level to make sure that's, that you get that right. And then when you line those up, that's important, because if you don't, if you just do it like this, when you put your screws in, they're going to be canted and they won't grip near as well on your Picatinny rail that you mount. So just remember, keep this level to drill your holes and drill both holes. Be very careful, this is important. If you do this stuff right, everything else works out really smooth. If you've sanded the Picatinny and drilled the holes correctly, everything else is easy from here. So we'll just mount this. Alright, the screws are in there good and flush. It's on there really very, very strong. It's not going to go anywhere, and it'll be on there for a long time. And you really haven't damaged your Sub2k. I mean, it's very minimal. So if you decide you don't like this configuration or you find a better one, you really haven't done much to mess your gun up. When mounting your sight to your riser, it's really personal preference, but I'll explain to you why I did it like this. Because I'm right-handed, I like having my quick release on the left-hand side. Also like having it when it's locked in the back position. That way, if I'm running through brush or whatever, I don't have a chance. If it's the other way, something could catch it and pop it loose. But this way, with it locked in the back position, it's way easier for stuff to just pass by it rather than unlocking it. So that's my thoughts about that. Also, when you put your sight on, make sure that you snug it up with the sight snug to the back, because as the weapon impacts, it continually drives this direction. And so what that'll do is it'll push your sight more snugly into your Picatinny rail. And the same thing goes when mounting your sight on your gun. Make sure, you could mount it forward, or you could mount it doesn't really show that much, but you can mount it and push it to the back and then lock it in, and you'll hold zero a lot better. So that's just a recommendation. Okay, YouTube, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck. And for all the new Sub2k owners, welcome to the fold.